Not, so we'll get started with item number 1, municipal court costs, pay per offense fee, second reading for 3/26. Tyler, if you want to go.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for the second reading of the ordinance to increase the municipal court cost to allow for the tickets to pay for the software that runs our municipal court system. There's be no changes to that ordinance. It'll just be a second reading.
Any questions about that? Nope. Everybody good? Move on then to item number 2 then, future of Mount Carmel Business Economic and Development Committee. Alderman Benstock.
Well, we mentioned it, we thought it sounded good. We've never been able to develop enough interest in it. And so rather than just carrying the item, I think we should just agree to shut it down.
Discussion on that.
I just don't think we got enough businesses for that right yet.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I think part of what's being missed is the purpose of it. It's more to develop an economic, more like recruitment plan where we don't have a recruiter or anybody working in economic development. Not necessarily trying to help current businesses. More like trying to capitalize on what properties we have available to try to bring business in the limited retail space. I've got no problem if it's the will of the board to get rid of it. That's fine, absolutely. But it's not, just to be clear, it's not a develop the current business further. That's more of like the incubator, and the resources are available through
Holston Business.
Thank you, Holston Business Development Center. This is more just for us a strategic type economic recruitment type plan versus development. So, like I said, if you want to put that on the agenda for this month, we can move forward with that. Any other discussion on that? Moving in then to item number 3, commemorating America 250. Tyler, I'll hand that over to you.
Okay. So you may have noticed this past week we put up pole banners on the lot poles between City Hall and Builder's First Source. These are special ones for the rest of this year through July 4th. They celebrate America 250. That's one thing that we're trying to do to commemorate the 250th anniversary of America. Another thing we're going to do is bring a resolution to you to officially commemorate it, but also tie that into our 4th of July celebration. So be on the lookout for that in our March meeting for that resolution, just encouraging everyone to participate in any special activities in commemoration. It's a good way to continue to bring our community together and celebrate a significant milestone for the country.
Discussion on that.
I think they look really good.
They do.
Thank you. And those, there are other flags that will go on that throughout the rest of the season once this one-time event is over. There'll be a kind of an all-season one. There'll be one for the winter time, Christmas time, and then one for the fall.
When they're done with, they're still hours, right? I mean,
Yes.
it'd be nice if we can auction them off to the citizens. I mean, that might be, some people like to have something like that for keepsake.
We can
Something like
we
that,
can
I mean.
explore what to do with
Yeah.
the one time. Yeah, we can explore that.
Any other discussion on America 250? Move us into item number 4 then, surplus vehicles from the police department.
So I've been given a list of 2 vehicles from the police department, 2 Dodge Chargers, 2012 and 2013. One of them has 154,000 miles. The other one has about 103,000 miles on them. They're in pretty bad condition, so we're just looking to surplus those and through Gov Deals and hopefully make a little bit out of them and put that back towards other equipment that we'll need.
Discussion on that. So we'll have that on the agenda for this upcoming month.
Yes.
Take us into item number 5, interlocal agreement with Town of Rogersville for Public Works. And I'll kind of explain that one here. So Mayor Metz from Rogersville has proposed that we kind of set up some type of formal working agreement with Town of Rogersville, where in the rare circumstance that we would ever need each other, we would have a formal established partnership set up. Something I think they recently did with Sir Goinsville More looking at it kind of as a like olive branch type resolution in regards to saying that, you know, the door's open to working together with them and kind of setting up some processes if ever needed it. I sent a copy of that over to Tyler and Jim to review what they passed with Sir Goinsville. You'll be seeing something about that in the upcoming agenda. Discussion on that.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea, or it's kind of like an olive branch between the two cities that are finally work together a little bit.
So we'll have something about that on the upcoming agenda. No other discussion on that. That'll move us into item number 6, schedule a budget work session. And Tyler or Jim.
So we need to look at a date to get together for about 3 hours to go over the budget. It probably needs to be before our next workshop, which is April the 9th. I would like to do it either March 30th or 31st, if you all have any objections to those dates. If not, we could look at April 6th or 7th, but then that would mean 2 meetings in 1 week. So it's up to you. I'm thinking either 9 to 12 or 12 to 3 or something like that.
I'll be out of town on the 31st.
Either or is good for me. The afternoon's way better for most
Yeah,
people.
afternoon's going to be the closer to 5 to me, the better it could be.
Okay.
Alderman Cross, what about you? I know you've got a work schedule to work around too. I want to make sure we.
Just let me know what day I can pretty much get into it all.
So what I heard was the 30th later in the afternoon, closer to 5. Does anybody have a opposition to that? Does that seem the best for everybody?
So that
Yeah.
March the
As a
30th.
consensus, March 30th, March 31st to be out because you got one that's out.
Yeah, either one of
We'll
them.
reach out to.
Or I can do April 2nd if that's the Thursday of that week. So whatever works better for you all.
Either is fine.
We're in for Mark meeting that day, but
What's that?
had the in for Mark meeting that day, but that's it.
Well, if you go into April, it's gonna make three meetings a month. If you go to the 30th, get it done on the 30th and get it over with.
If the 30th works for y'all, that would.
That's
Then
fine.
that gives you time between that work session and our April workshop if you have questions or anything. Because then April 23rd, that meeting will be voting on it for the first time.
So what's it gonna be, 9 to 5 or 12 to 5?
We don't need 5 hours.
No, we don't.
No,
We're only 3 hours, so
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
I'm sorry, what?
2 to
2 to
5.
5.
2 to 5.
And if it doesn't take 3 hours, then we get out of here earlier. Since we're not reinventing the wheel this year with stuff, it should move pretty smoothly.
Any other questions on that? Tyler will send out reminders and details in the email about that and notice that. Moving on then to item number 7 then, challenges with 2023 LPRF contract.
So we had a pre-construction meeting with the LPRF grant to get the contract signed and to get the construction started, which I gave you all an update about that last time. We have given that, the next piece in that is to get our legal counsel to sign off on it. There are some portions of that he is uncomfortable with at the current stage of the process, and he is working through those to try to come up with a solution that makes him feel comfortable to want to be able to sign it. So we have hit a delay as far as that goes with the execution. Just wanted to let you all know that.
Is the language in the contract of the planning of it, or what's the?
Well, it's a certification, and there's a certificate in there by the owner's attorney, i.e. the town attorney. And that certification says that you reviewed all the documents, they're all adequate, and that everybody that signed them is the proper person. Every proper person that signed them has been duly authorized by whatever entity they had. Basically, it's putting everything onto the town via their attorney to say this document is adequate and everything's correct. So later on, there's something found out not to be correct. And this is a 300-page, I would guess, document, okay? Everything from building specs of concrete to other things. But more importantly, it's surety bonds, where you have different insurance companies that you have photocopies of a bond in there, and there's somebody that signed it, vice president of so-and-so. But I have no way of knowing that that's the correct vice president. I have no way of knowing if that is a person that's been duly authorized. If a corporation, you'd have minutes of a meeting. There are certain things like that. And I just couldn't believe they could ever get anybody to sign this thing. So I went through it in detail. There's another small section back there that says that the owner, again, that's how they phrase the Mount Carmel, owner has the right to request from the other parties the necessary documentation so that the owner's attorney, me, can sign this certification. So what I'm suggesting of doing, and I would highly recommend it, is that we ask for certifications from each of the parties that are involved in this contract. We have an engineering firm, McGill. Well, I can't tell you if that engineering data in there is correct. It seems to me he should do a certificate to me, to the town, saying he's reviewed the documents are adequate, and that the proper party of McGill Engineering has signed those documents. The surety companies, the two insurance companies, the bond for performance and the final payment bond, they should also be required to give a certificate to the town saying, yes, that they later on come back and say there was something wrong with this, and you can't say anything about it because you already certified that everything was adequate. So what I'm suggesting is I will make up certificates and then, working with Tyler, get the parties to certify the part of the contract that they've done is adequate, and that the parties who signed those documents are duly authorized to sign them and are the proper parties to sign them. We believe the point of contact should be the engineering firm, McGill representative, because he's the one that's dealt with the individual contracts. Construction Partnerships, I think Construction Partners, LLC. But again, it's a blanket certification that you're saying everything in this thing is adequate and everything's done correctly. Well, there's no way for us to know that without getting some kind of assurance from the people. All we have is pieces of paper. So we're asking for certificates back from each of these parties to the town saying that, and then the town can say, okay, based upon the certificates that I've received from the parties, I agree, the documents are adequate and the proper parties have signed.
May I ask some questions?
Sure.
So, I apologize. The attorney for McGill or whoever created this document is the one that made it where there's a blanket that you would sign. Is that correct? The document was provided to us. We didn't create it.
The document, this is a form packet, I believe, okay?
Okay.
That's required out of the government, actually.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
particular certification they want from the owner's attorney is a blanket certification up front. And like I said, I couldn't figure out how they never expect somebody to sign that. And they did it by putting in the details, 50 pages back, the additional stipulation that you could ask for all the documentation necessary for the owner's attorney to feel comfortable to sign these documents.
So what I'm asking is, why wouldn't it make more sense for you and the attorney from the construction group to come together and have a conversation? Because in contract law, I don't believe that any party should be signing for another party's
We're not asking.
competence.
I'm going to be making up separate certificates for McGill, their attorney, the attorney for McGill, which is being represented by Jamie. That's who's supposed to be looking for our interest. That's who should be making sure all the contracts are adequate and that all the signatures are signed, actually. But anyways, we're going to get something from them saying that. We're going to get a certificate from Construction Partners, Inc. saying the contract is adequate and that the specifications are. So we'll have 4 or 5 certificates. We're going to be, now who gives that, whether it works out better for me directly to try to go to the insurance companies? I would think Jamie, as the person putting the packet together, the bid packet, all that, would be the quickest point of contact to take these documents, certificates, which I'll supply to Tyler, or I'll directly. Tyler said he has a good relationship with Jamie, and so therefore he will be the person to go back and present the certificate we're now asking them to sign, and then they'll give it to the appropriate person, Bob. I don't know of a better way to, if there's a faster way to collect that kind of assurance, fine, but I'm not sure I.
But now you're creating something which is billable hours to us that should have come to us. That's the way I feel about it. That's why I'm trying to navigate this myself and understand how we end up having to do twice as much work on the backside, which we're going to be billed for.
Okay.
There's a question here of, and I understand if they're complying with federal government and everything else, but nowhere in contract law do you sign authorizing another party or
You're not authorizing.
confirming another party's.
Well, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking them to confirm their part of the contract.
So they sign, this is what I'm going to say, is when you sign a contract, that there's an assumption by the engineering firm and the insurance companies and all of them in every contract that we sign. We're going deeper than we have to, is my concern in creating a second level of certification process.
Do
Does
you
that
have
make
the
sense?
contract documents?
It's in my office.
If you'd like to, the best way to do it is show you the certificate they're asking to have. They're requiring a certificate to be signed. I would not recommend the town sign it until you have some kind of assurance from the individual people. Insurance is from the insurance company that, yes, this is a valid bond, all right? And it's been signed by the people, and here's the authorization, the minutes of the meeting and something, the authorization for them to have signed it. If we send them we're basically turning around and sending certificates to them to allow us to sign as the town, but the certificate overall. They're not doing anything. McGill is obviously going to be, they're on the hook for the whole thing, for I'm concerned. So, I mean, but the rest of them are only going to be signing for whatever part they're dealing with, whatever part that pertains to them. In other words, Construction Partners Inc., would probably be the ones that would end up, or not Inc., LLC, would probably be the ones that would end up working with the insurance companies. That's who they get their bonds through.
So what kind of time frame does this put on you as a burden to create these certificates?
I'll have them done next week. I don't think it's going to be, I'm going to go through the contract to make sure again, and like you said, it's, as you're well aware, it's this thick, I told Tyler I would try to have him something next week so that he could give them to Jamie, who could distribute them to the parties and see if they're getting, how much time they either will take to look at it or agree to sign it. I'm not sure.
So what do we do if they don't agree to sign it, is the other question.
Then it comes back to the board and you decide whether you want to agree that everything in the contract is correct. But what gets me, it just says adequate. You agree all the documents in here, all these documents are all adequate. Well, we don't know that. That's what we hired a professional engineering firm for. They're the ones that should be saying all the documents are adequate. Quite honestly, man, I don't think it's us to do it. But apparently the regulation is, from what I can tell, is that the owner, this is a governmental requirement. It says before you can submit this to the agency, and that's we're talking about the government, that they have to receive this owner's attorney's legal certification that everything is adequate and everything has been properly done.
Okay, I'm
The
done with my questions.
the funding agency, I spoke with them today. They said it would not rock the boat for them to do it this way. It's just going to be a process. So I think if we can get those to the engineering firm next week and get this ball rolling, then we should be okay. But it'll be a tense time, a tight timeline.
Like I said, after watching the town and your struggles with the wastewater treatment plant contracts, if this had been some kind of certification in that thing, you would have been in a much weaker position to do anything to hold their feet to the fire and stuff. So hopefully, I didn't talk to Tyler since then, but I think it's reasonable to ask each of these individual parties to certify that the part that they did, not somebody else's, is using the same exact terms they're asking the town to certify.
Isn't that what they do when they sign the contract, though, or they sign the agreements? Isn't that what happens at the front end of this?
But the agency's not asking them to do it. The agency's asking the town to do it. And we're going to be the ones on the hook solely then if something happens bad.
Will this be something that we'll be actioning at the well, let me just rephrase that. If that's something that we need to action by at the next month's meeting, I guess we'll just go ahead and look at addressing that at that point in
There's no
time.
action yet, but if they refuse to sign, then there will be some kind of action.
Okay,
Um,
so
And
let's
also-
just put a contingency on that for the next 2 weeks
Yeah, and
if
there's,
we,
there's another issue as well that we haven't gotten to. The fact that there was a resolution passed in 2023 that gave the mayor the ability to sign all contracts, documents necessary to complete the grant. And it was dated for 3 years. So it expires this month.
So we will eventually need a resolution from the board here allowing the mayor or somebody else to do it.
And there are places where my name is printed in the book. Not really sure why, and there are places that are open for the mayor's signature. So that resolution should probably allow both of us to sign where necessary to get it done, just in this specific instance. It's just a technicality that we discovered.
so then
So
also.
there will be a resolution for that in
So that
March.
will be an action item, and that's however we decide to proceed with that, we'll have to take action on that, so we'll just go ahead and get that written. I think it'd be fine to have myself or you to do that. That's the way I would recommend to have it written for the resolution, just so it's not 100% contingency upon me to be able to sign it. So if you're in a situation where you're already in it too.
And I think they put that in there because I've been the project manager on this whole
Right.
ordeal.
I saw documents come through even too, where it has you listed, me listed,
Right.
as the different projects, so.
I don't think there's any question you can assign somebody to do this. Be the person to sign the contract. We just need some resolution from the board stating that's what's being done.
Okay, so yeah, so go ahead. and
Because
put-
typically, it's always been the mayor or the town administrator that has been able to do this back and forth, but traditionally, anything large like this, the mayor's been the one to sign them. But this is something that is so technical, I think if Tyler's been the point man and stuff, he's the one that should continue to deal with it.
All right, so that'll move us in then to item number, oh, sorry, Tyler, was that everything with that one? Because I'll have one thing to add at the end for like it's item 12. But,
Yes, that's all on that.
okay. Moving then to item number 8, recognition of 2 fire department employees at the 326 meeting.
The fire chief would like to recognize the 2 folks that rescued the lady from the structure fire off of Bay Street publicly in the meeting. So he has certificates and such for the folks, and he wants to do that in a public meeting. So just asking to get your permission to be able to bring that to the agenda.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely, and let's do that. You want to fit that in before visitors' comments even, just to make that clean.
Front end.
Very, very front end of that, I'll hand it over to him and let him recognize them.
Thank you.
Questions with that?
Yeah, was there anything for the police? I thought the chief said that there were a couple of police officers that were also going to be recognized at some point. Have you heard anything about that?
I
The only
don't,
recognition I remember was Officer Lindsay was going on the wall in Nashville,
Yeah.
but that's the only
Yeah.
thing I remember.
yeah, there was, are you talking about from this fire scene?
Yes. There was nothing? Okay.
No.
I misheard.
All right, we'll move on to number 9, trash pickup services discussion.
So, generically, at the last workshop last month, you all asked me to go out to RFP for the trash. Before I did the RFP, and I've prepared an RFP if that's the way you still want to go, but I did a survey for the state and for our local area about costs. And I'm going to tell you that if we go out to RFP, it's going to be a lengthy process, and in the end, we're probably going to end up back at Kingsport because it's more cost effective. I'll share this with you. In our state, the average per cart amount is $22.26 per cart per month.
22.
26 per cart per month. The high is $40.54 per cart per month, and the low is $8 per cart per month. In our local region, which is Kingsport, Greenville, Bristol, Jonesboro, Morristown, Bluff City, Kingsport, Johnson City, and Bristol, Virginia, The average is $20.81 per cart. The high is $38, and that's Bristol, Virginia, and as you all have followed, Bristol, Virginia's had a lot of landfill issues and things like that they're driving up their costs. The low is $8, and that's Kingsport. Kingsport is looking to double theirs. However, I don't know that that's going to gain traction with their board, but they're looking to go to $16 for their residents. They're only looking to charge us $13 because there's no landfill fee for them doing it here. So I say all that to say the increase being 23% is still much cheaper. Every other price in the state of Tennessee, and I did comparative size, bigger, smaller, I did everything I could. The $13 is the cheapest price compared to $8 that Kingsport is currently paying per cart. They charge their outside city residents and county residents $23 per cart to pick up.
I'm so tired of talking about the trash. We talk about this every year. It's the same dog and pony show, and it always ends up that.
Well, and going to an RFP is a process that is time consuming and will put us behind the power curve.
Right.
So
I don't want to go out for an RFP unless it's brought to the board that we're voting to do that, because I don't want to waste the time. I don't want to waste the man hours.
It's ridiculous.
Because there's no, you want to have this room full of people screaming with pitchforks and angry, have trash pickup fail 1 week.
Yeah.
And they don't get the trash picked up.
I agree
You
with
will
you.
have, your phones will be blowing up. And I will be passing those calls to anybody that votes to do this, because I'm not in favor. We have a good partnership with Kingsport, good relationship based off the price. Nobody's touching that price for that dollar. And there's no way we can do it ourselves for that. I don't know if that was
We
included.
cannot. I did not, but
There's
I can
no,
tell you
I can tell you,
We talked about that before.
I can't
We've done
start a
it.
trash company.
how many times have we, probably every year. So no, I don't want to move forward. My recommendation, we don't move forward with the RFP, even to waste the time and money on what we already know.
So what I will do then with the consensus of the board is I will move back into conversations with Kingsport about renewing our interlocal agreement with them with their proposed $2.50 per cart increase. It still keeps us well below the average or the median prices throughout the state and throughout our region. And I'm willing to answer any questions, and I'll share my data with y'all if you.
This is core services that we provide as a town, and it's like if you start having issues with that, it's going to be the fastest disruption.
We should have never gotten into the sewer business. We definitely don't want to get in the trash
No,
business.
agreed. So, any other discussion on that?
You won't get any argument from me.
No.
All right, item number 10, sewer update. Rate resolution, rate study, and annual operations agreement negotiation.
So I'll cover them in reverse order. I've begun negotiation with Infomark for year 2 of our operational agreement. So each year in the contract, they have the ability to look at the CPIU for water and wastewater maintenance and come back and ask for that increase. We don't have to give it to them, certainly. They're not asking for the increase that is identified in CPIU. They're asking for a lesser increase. I am still navigating things with them as far as the caps and things like that. We spent a lot of money out of the town's budget last year to buy residential pumps and some of those things. So what I may do is I may try and get that money sent over to them, so we're not in the business of buying pumps to get them to them. Let them be the one stop, take care of it, but the cap money would come from us to be able to do that. So I'm still navigating those things with Matt, but it's been a very favorable conversation. And the other thing is they come to realize that they do need another field tech. So that's another absorption of cost. They asked for a 3% increase year over year. That's a reasonable expectation when the CPIU was 4.6. So they're asking for a 1.6% less increase, and we'll continue to navigate that, but I don't have anything to bring you yet. And I'll answer any questions you may have about that. So we're navigating the rate study. We have not gotten the rate study back in a manageable form. The consultant is still working through things, but I've had discussions with them about specificity of things that we need to identify in there. So once we get that back, we'll be able to move. That brings me to part 3, which is the board started this last year, resolution 25 dash whatever, where we set the rate and we did the 35% increase. But we also said that every year on or about this time, we were going to address the rate increases responsibly and reasonably with the CPI-U indication. So I'm recommending that we go with a 4.6% increase to that. What that would do is it would bring the base rate from 43.88 to 45.90, and it would bring the additional 1,000-gallon rate from 7.08 to 7.41. So this keeps us in lockstep with what you all took as action as the board in 2025. It shows goodwill towards the comptroller's office that we're not just sitting around twiddling our thumbs, but we're still working the plan that you all took up. That's not to say this is the end, because when the rate study comes, we're going to have to develop an implementation plan there. But I think this softens the blow of the higher expected rate increase from the rate study process. And I do believe that there'll be an impactful rate increase based on the rate study. So I share that with you all, and I've already prepared a resolution supplanting the 25-647 resolution with the following, and it addresses in there about incorporating the rate study in the future to any others. I believe we'll have the rate study and all of that. We have to by August 15th. So.
Any discussion on that?
That's crappy.
It's hard, please, yeah, you already.
So that's rate study and rate resolution covered at that point, correct?
The rate study won't be back yet. So
Right
but I will reference the rate study being pending for future increases in the resolution. You'll see that in the resolution.
Sorry, I'm more or less, are we completely finished with item number 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll move on then to item number 11, Hawkins County ECD update.
The only thing I have to share with you is I have made contact with all of the agencies. The county offered to host, have a conversation, all of those things. I put down some dates on my calendar to try and get in front of the Public Safety Committee for the county and the Budget Committee for the county to have a conversation about where I think this needs to go. I went to the Surgoinsville BMA Workshop and meeting last week.
Wednesday.
Yeah, was it Monday? The days are blending together, I apologize. Spoke with them. I don't know what their desire is. As I understand it, Churchill has a committee that is dealing with this. I've been dealing with their police chief, so I sent him the information, and that I copied you all about the letter that I sent to all of our partners. And I haven't heard back from the committee that's addressing that. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to address this sooner than later, is my opinion. I'm going to go back to what I've said to you from the beginning. I believe that a countywide regional service should be funded by a countywide regional revenue. And I'm not asking people to raise taxes at the county level. I'm not certainly asking us to raise taxes at the local level. What I am asking for is, transparency in funding the essential services that are necessary to provide service to the public. So I say all that to say, by the end of it, we may just be in conversation with the county, because I don't know what Churchill's desire or direction is, and I don't know what Surgoinsville is yet. But I have reached out to all of them, and the ball's in their court to determine whether we want to do this collaboratively or whether everybody wants to go their own way and do their own thing. I suggest against that. I sent a message to TML today because TML has weighed in on this with a errata sheet, if you will, talking about legislation needs to be addressed. So I asked to get in front of them, have some thoughtful conversations, move through that. We need to get a hold of some of our local legislators and bring them to a conversation with us about this. Because the statements from the ECD director in this county are talking about the legislation as if it's, you know, locked in stone, that it can't fund this and it can't fund that and only it can fund this. That is not the way it's written. And I'm positive that the legislature was more insightful than what Director Campbell is giving them credit for. So
I just to add to that, I have been in contact with Representative Hill, and also have shared pretty much essentially every written piece or form thing that you've sent us, and which I do want to compliment the last one, the 4 or 5 page one that we've got. That was very thorough and very technical, and I thought you did a really good job on giving a good breakdown of and a lot of details and specifics about that. You know, I agree it's a work in progress. I think that we just need to continue doing all the different avenues of approach that we've been going with this. Like I said, ultimately it's going to take legislative change to make it happen. But it's going to be something that's conversations have to be had with the county about how this gets funded.
So I have not spoken to the ECD yet, but I will be sitting down with them to talk. If I can't get everybody else to go to the table with me, then I'll go by myself. Because we are going to have a resolution and a solution
For July.
or my police chief and fire chief are going to become dispatchers on a 10-digit number. And that is the most inefficient way to deliver emergency services in this town. So.
Looks like you said too, what happened, who's calling the ambulance, you know?
Well, that's a whole other conversation that I've got to have with the mayor and the county budget and all of those folks, so.
Same principle though, that under TCA we're not required to have a police department. I mean, just technically speaking, under TCA code we're not required to have a police department.
Or a fire department.
At that point we're a volunteer fire department, the same as the other, like Carter Valley, Stanley Valley, et cetera, et cetera. So with the same rules then that's going to apply to that area and their districts then apply to us at that point if we no longer have a police department. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
I don't think that they would.
Because
I'm not saying I want to get rid of the police department. It's just an example of how they're.
The logic isn't there. What you just highlighted is exactly why there was a 4-page letter sent to our partners. Because this is a complex technical issue. And if you're not familiar with the TCA and the compelling legislation that was written for this, you know, it's easy to latch on to one aspect of a statute, but the problem is the entire intent has to get there. I'm not sure if there's ever been an attorney general opinion on this, but I may actually put us down the road of seeking an attorney general opinion about the legislative intent and where it goes and what it does. The bottom line is, it is not right to tax a citizen differently, and I highlighted that in the letter to our partners. So the town of Burgoynesville would end up paying more than anybody per call in that process. And that makes absolutely 0 sense. And it's why I said, just because population was used because it's an easy number that you can't fudge, it doesn't correlate to the call necessity and the ability to deliver service. So just because Burgoynesville's the smallest doesn't mean that they should have a lesser service. We want to give a consistent service across the entire region and county. And that's exactly what that dispatch center was designed to do. And it wasn't just to answer 911 calls and do whatever they want with it afterwards. it was built purposefully to be a direct dispatch center. So,
And that's, the Attorney General opinion is one thing that I have discussed with Representative Hill, that he said he would be willing to help us try to request and navigate. But the biggest, he couldn't ask for it until they actually passed it, taking action on it. He wanted to wait till they actually did something first so that they could have something actionable. So that's something he's working on. And, you know, like I said, I encourage us to continue looking at the national route for long-term solutions, because if not, we're just going to be playing defense every year. But I appreciate the update on that. Anybody have any other questions on that? Got one other thing to add that what didn't make the list here. We just need to schedule a Parks Committee meeting for the LPRF grant. Tyler could give you a quick explanation of why.
They would like a Parks Committee meeting to show that the committee is in agreement with the application for the new LPRF grant. It's not necessarily a requirement, but they said it would go a long way in helping the application.
So we want to do everything that we can to make that grant look favorable. We've got letter of support went out today, and as far as that goes, as long as we have to have like what, 4 or 5 day notice on that. How long a notice would you need? We need it today.
48 hours is probably
Good enough.
acceptable.
Next week we have the week of the, and I apologize, who's on the Parks Committee?
I have no clue.
We know. I know you are.
Am I on
Let's see.
Let's see if I can find the list.
it? I think I am.
What days of the week are good for you, Brian?
I think you were, I went out, and I believe
Yeah.
you went out.
I think
Looking,
Ben White is on there
I
too.
think he is too.
Tuesday and Thursday, I'm off at work at nighttime, usually for my kids' soccer. though.
Okay. Tuesday, Thursday,
So if we, depending on if it's earlier in the afternoon,
no, it'll be after 5 because I can't take off work for that.
It's Phil Benstock, Mindy, Sugar, Brian Erasmus, the mayor, Regina Perkins, Gary Traylor, and then there's a vacant spot.
Unless Ben White is on
Yeah, well,
did you find the list?
And I think there's actually, is it 9? I think I read today it was 9 members, so there's
we
actually.
changed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
There's a
way too
resolution
Okay.
to change that to
It's
7.
Okay,
And
so
I
there's-
still show a vacancy.
Okay. Then let's add an action item to the agenda. Well, I'll have to fill that. I'll fill that vacancy this month. I'll get you the details for that. Regina, you said.
Yeah.
Don't want to double check.
I want to double check to make sure that she'll still do that. Gary Traylor and Phil. Could you do the 24th, Phil? This will probably be like what, a 10-minute meeting.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, 24th,
it's at 5:30.
5:30?
That work for you?
I got it.
Okay. That work for you, Brian?
So you said 5:30?
Yes.
That's yours here.
Here.
you said something about a 10-minute meeting or so?
It'll
Yeah.
be quick.
Yeah, I have to be working Lowe's at 6. So.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we'll be
That'd
up
be
by
great.
then.
So it's 5:30, the 24th. 3024 here. Because the biggest thing is we can call, take the vote on that, and if you had to leave, if for some reason somebody was here for a comment or whatever, you can still go on. We've got that passed and move on with it. Is that all you needed with that?
Yes.
Anybody else have anything?
What was the date of the other meeting?
The 30th,
30.
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
I'm meeting out this month.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, I leave tonight and I won't be back till the 20th in the evening. So I'll be out of pocket and out of state. So I'll see you back here on the 23rd.
We'll try not to
I'll have my phone. So if
Safe
anything breaks
travels.
loose, thank you.
Continued.
Look at his voicemail, but you'll have this
No.
now.
No, I'm going to Denver, so I imagine I'll have service there. So
Yeah,
I would
and
make-
continued
Sure.
prayers with that situation. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
if that's nobody else have anything, we'll